Generally, you know that I'm a military specialist, but today I'm going to talk on something which interests the entire Indian nation, and that is the Bombay film industry. Now, we must give credit to the Bombay film industry that it has put India on the global map. It is second only to Hollywood in terms of global reach, but at the same time makes more films than Hollywood, that is the entire Indian film industry. But there has been a lot of change which has come in now, and many people have fantasies about the Bombay film industry, but then I can tell you fantasies are not truths. So let's get to the truth. The first thing is that the film industry is over 100 years old in India, and some great men have come, like Sohrab Modi and so many others, who really laid the foundation of the film industry. But however, there was a dramatic change when in 1947 India was divided. Much earlier, I do not know for what reason, but many Muslims had joined the Bombay film industry, and many of them came from Lahore and Peshawar and other places like Dilip Kumar and so many others. And in fact, at some stage, I think the Muslims constituted almost 30 to 40% of the population of the people working in Bombay films. There are no hard statistics, but this is just an estimate. Considering that the population of Muslims in India about 15%, what one can safely say is that there was preponderance of Muslims working in the Bombay film industry. But after 47, there was a little of a psychosis of fear among the Muslims, and some of the top heroes, they changed their names, and they kept Hindi names, Hindu names, like Dilip Kumar actually used. All these people changed their names and kept Hindus' names. And the industry at that time, in any case, had what is known as the Hindu ethos. But now things began to change. There was a war with Pakistan in 65, and much earlier a war with China in 1962. During the Chinese war, most of the film stars, and that was people like Dilip Kumar and so many others, they held a lot of programs condemning China and raising money for the war effort. But that all ended when the 65 war with Pakistan began. I think people like Dilip Kumar went into hiding, and even there were reports that the President of India at that time, Dr. Zakir Hussain, he had also a very doubtful approach to the entire arena of politics. And at that time, I think what happened was that the Hindu-Muslim divide in the film industry started, and there was also a flush of money coming in from the Middle East. And now, I won't go pinpoint anything, but the fact is that some of the big guns there who were doing nefarious activities began to invest money in the Bombay films. And the result was that the domination became from the people who were working somewhere in the Middle East, Dubai or maybe UAE or Oman, Qatar, and most of them were Muslims. Now that is a crucial point. So when they were financing the Muslims were financing the Bombay film industry, they really were insisting that you keep Muslim heroes. They didn't mind the girls being Hindu, but the Muslims heroes should be given preponderance. And that is the time the psychosis of fear had also gone, and the Muslims began to flout their names. And then something happened in the sense that because of the flush money coming in from the Middle East and insistence of Muslim heroes, a time came when three of the topmost heroes, I won't name them here, you all know them, were Muslims. And the films which were also being made, I have been observing and many people have commented, but with the anti-Hindu bias. Now this was something not acceptable in the country, but then in India everything is acceptable because the Hindus are so docile that they'll accept anything at all. So that's a very sad occurrence, but this has precisely happened. There were so many scenes in Hindi films, which were denigrating the Hindu religion. But everybody kept quiet, even some of the top Hindu heroes, didn't open their mouths. I couldn't understand why. And of course, as I told you, I'm not going to mention any names, but it's all well known what was going on. But then there had to be a renaissance. These topmost three heroes began to age, and the clout of the mafia, which was operating from the Middle East, began to go down. When these two things happened, the clout of the black money went down as far as Bombay industry is concerned. I don't think it's finished or anything like that, but it's definitely gone down. And then there was a flux of nationalist people who came in, and they began to make nationalist films, like the famous movies which have come now of Ranveer Singh, and so many others. And these films are a total surprise to the Muslims who were members of the Bombay film industry. They didn't like it at all, but they had to lump it. And the public, gave accolades to these movies, and the net result is that these have been blockbuster hits. Uh, Mentioning movies is not the thing, but the point is, take it as a gospel truth or whatever you call it, that this new wave of films which were nationalistic began to take over the psychosis of the India, and it was a very good thing. And I think most of the minority community people are not really happy with this. But then you may not be happy, but there's nothing you can do about it. So, gentlemen, what I'm trying to tell you is that the Muslims in the Bombay film industry have followed a curve. They entered the industry, and then they rose up to the apex, and I think now they are on the decline. And that is a point which we must bear in mind. And there has been a renaissance of the Hindus in the Bombay industry, and more nationalist people are coming in, and films on terrorism which pinpoint the minorities in India as the fomenters of terrorism come in. See, the point in India, the terrorists are having run because we have a substantial people of India, like the Congress party, which got some lopsided views. And I couldn't understand what their views are, but at the same time, they are following a policy of appeasement. And that has been the bane of India for the last 2,000 years, the policy of appeasement. And I think this policy continued in the Bombay film industry, with the result that time came, when most of the producers, even like Mehboob Khan and others, were from the minority community, and you can't expect them to make movies which will show the minority as a terrorist. And I used to be surprised when you see some movies, made in by Bombay films, where the terrorist was always shown having a name like Peter or John or something like that. They was scared, even the Bombay producers, to mention a minority chap as a terrorist. That was a fact of history. And now these things are changing. I'm so glad they are changing, because there is a renaissance. It's come very late, but the renaissance has come now, and I'm sure people are realizing, and there's so many good people who have come who would like to make films which pinpoint the truths. That is the crux of the issue. The film world has to pinpoint the truth. Hollywood has survived for so long because it's brought out the truths, and most of the films are contemporary films which mirror the atmosphere around the world, while the Indian films are giving an artificial atmosphere, that the terrorists are normally having the name like Peter and John and all that, which has got no relevance. And now the situation is changing. I think in the time to come, there will be an eclipse of the minority community in the Bombay films, and I think that's very nice. I hope, gentlemen, you like this video of mine. I've given you a perspective of what really happens in Bombay films, and I hope you like it. And if you like it, please subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and do subscribe. I'm running short on subscribers. I think you must all like to subscribe to my channels. The latest movies, as I've already pointed out, are a pointer to the change in the thinking of the Bombay producers of the films, where more and more nationalist themes are coming to the fore. That's a very nice thing, and the fact is, India is the only country in the world where a member of the minority community, the three of them, were ruling the world. I mean, as far as Bombay films, these three chaps were ruling the whole Bombay film industry, and not they were very patriotic, not at all. One of them went and met the presidents of Turkey and his wife or something like that. But anyway, gentlemen, better late than never. I look forward to further more patriotic films, and goodbye and God bless